Hi, PGA Tour Coach Randy Joyner, here today to talk about the truth about the lies. And today, boy, have we got a big lie for you today. We're going to talk about a bunker shot. A lot of you struggle with this. A lot of you are scared to hit a bunker shot. It's really a very simple shot, the way the tour player does it, which is what we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about the easiest way to play a bunker shot as far as technique goes, and we're going to talk about the 6 different types of bunker shots that you'll have, because what most players do, even if they get fairly decent at this, they'll come to the practice area where we're at here, and they'll work on one particular shot. There's different bunker shots, so I'm going to show you how to hit every one of those.
I've been coming up hot for a minute. Everybody know the don't be run.
All right, so let's talk about what you've been told. If you've been taught to hit a bunker shot, if you've scrolled through Instagram, looked at YouTube videos, still have trouble hitting this shot, well, here's why. Most of you have been taught, if not all of you, to hit, and I've heard anything from 2 inches to 5 inches behind a golf ball. Let me tell you something, you're going to need an excavator to get it out of here if you land that golf club that far back and you're trying to move all that sand. A tour player's not doing that. The second thing you've probably been taught is to open your stance up. Most of you are taught to open the stance. Third thing is have the club face open, and then fourth thing, slice across it. So I'm trying to hit 2 to 5 inches behind it. I've got an open stance, an open club face, and I'm trying to cut across it. So I've got the face looking over there. I've got my stance looking over here. I'm swinging it this direction, and I want the ball to go there. Okay, that makes no sense. Here's how a tour player does it. It's all about striking down. It's all about striking down as if you're going to strike a match. Okay, so let's think of it like this. If I walk in here, I'm going to be very, very square. Fairly wide stance, so I'll show you for the camera here. It's a fairly wide stance. The grip end of the club is going to point basically at where my belt buckle is. I'm not going to have the ball forward. That's something else most of you have been taught. Fairly wide stance. You can open the club face depending on the sand wedge you currently have, depending on the bounce and the grind configuration of that. You might open it a little less or a little more. But what you're going to do is you're going to take the heel of the club, the sharp part of the club, and you're trying to strike down into the sand. It's much like I said, striking a match. So if you do that, it doesn't take much effort at all to pop this thing right out next to the hole. Hitting a bunker shot is not tough. It's not about, again, hitting behind it. It's about allowing the heel of the club to come down. I'm trying to hit down on the ball. Now, because the club face is open, I'm going to hit slightly behind it, and that's what you see on television. So this shot's not very hard. Don't let it scare you. Don't look like you're trying to kill a snake in here, as many of you do. It doesn't take a lot of effort. This is the heaviest club in your bag. Club's going to go up in the air, taking the heel of the club and throwing it down. You'll hear that sound it makes. It's a little thump, like striking a match. I guarantee you're going to hit better sand shots doing that. Now, what we're going to do is talk about the different types of shots that you need to practice once you've got this down. All right, so we talked about the technique of hitting a bunker shot. Now you realize that this is really a simple shot. You don't have to be scared once you get in here. Hitting a buried lie shot. So we're going to talk about a couple of different shots. Let's talk about that buried lie, the fried egg as people call it. What you want to do, first of all, don't get scared because this is not that difficult. Again, like we talked about, and I'm going to show you, I'm going to come in a little closer to the camera here. If you look at the heel of the club, the sharpest part of a golf club is where the heel and the face come together. That's what I'm using. Using the heel of the club is the trick to this shot. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to have the club face slightly open. Now what many players do is they'll close the club face and try to throw the club head down into the sand, leaving the club in there. And yes, you can do that. The ball will pop out, but it's going to run over the green. You're not going to have a very short putt for par. The easiest way to play it, open the club face, and you don't have to really pancake this face and open it a ton, just a little bit, and you're going to take the heel of the club and you're trying to get very steep and vertical and just literally almost leave the club head in the sand. So I'll show you what it looks like. You're going to take the heel of the club and just leave it in there, and that's going to pop the ball out, and it's actually got spin on it when you do that. So that's the easiest way to play a buried lie shot, or that fried egg as people call it. You want to just leave that club head in there, but you're taking the heel of the club and sticking it in the sand. That'll pop it out with some spin. All right, so let's talk about the uphill lie. Again, here's another shot that players don't practice a lot in a bunker, but you'll get from time to time. There are 2 mistakes I see players make. they'll set up and they'll take their shoulders, because they think this is the way to do it. They'll take their shoulders and they'll lean their shoulders. They'll tilt in a way so that they're up this slope. Kind of makes sense that you would do that, because you would kind of want to do that if you're hitting out of a fairway. Not a good idea in a bunker. I don't want you to tilt your shoulders and match the slope. I want you just to stay a little bit more on your left side. You're going to have the club face slightly open. Here's the second mistake players make, is they hit too far behind it. I don't want you to do that either. We're coming down on the ball just like we did on the previous two shots. So you're not going to tilt back. You're not going to hit too far behind it. You're going to stay slightly on your left side. You're going to pick the club up, stick it in the sand, and pop it out. So it's a couple inches from the hole. It doesn't take a lot of effort to do this. It's just all about the technique and really about the setup in this thing. All right, so now we've talked about our typical standard bunker shot, the berry lie, the uphill lie. Now we've got a ball above our feet. All right, well, what changes here? Here's the one mistake that happens with players. They will typically hit, again, because they're trying to hit too far behind the ball, they're going to hit way too far behind the ball. So typically what happens with this, they're hitting so far behind the ball, this shot, that they'll leave it in the bunker. So what you want to make sure you do is, again, you're trying to be steep. The other thing is, you want to make sure that you exit a little bit left with the club. So don't try to steer it to the hole, just let the club swing down the slope. So again, normal setup, club face slightly open, grip is pointing at my belt buckle, fairly wide stance. I'm just going to take that heel of the club, hit down on it, let the club swing slightly left. That ball's got a ton of spin with no effort close to the hole. Not a difficult shot if you just pay attention to that. Now, we're not in a spot in the bunker to hit a ball below your feet, but with the ball below your feet, what you're going to do is, I set up here, you're going to make sure you stay in your posture. So you're tilted over. So make sure you stay in your posture with the ball below your feet, and that you stay into the sand. So you want to hit down even more, and that's what pops the ball up, creates the spin so that you can stop it close to the hole. Again, not a difficult shot if you understand a little bit of these setup keys that you need to know, that all tour players do. All right, so here's another scary bunker shot for players, but it doesn't have to be if you understand a couple of these setup keys. I've got a ball that's in a downhill lie of a bunker. I've got a very short pin. So I've got to get this up in the air and I got to stop it quick. All right, so to do that, what most players are going to do is they're going to try to help the ball out. Well, in that case, you're going to hit 6, 7, 8 inches behind it. You're either going to scull it into the lip of this bunker, or you're going to hit that far behind it and leave it in the bunker, and you've got the shot all over again. A downhill lie is not difficult if you lean. This is a case where I want you to lean your shoulders. So what I do is I try to take my left shoe and I point my left toe at the flag. And then I take my left knee and try to lean out almost to the end of my shoe. That gets my weight on my left side. I'm tilted, and now I'll just take the heel of the club, stick it in the sand, and we hit the flag. So now you understand that bunker shots are not as scary as you may have first thought. The way a tour player hits these shots that you just learned makes this an extremely easy shot. We actually aim for these. On a par 5, I'm trying to hit it in a bunker if I can't get to the green. I want to be in here versus a lot of the other shots you'll have around the greens on a golf course. It's not a difficult shot if you understand these key principles. So watch this video several times, understand how to do it, and I promise it's an easier shot than you ever thought possible. So don't forget to like and subscribe, and we'll check you out on the next Truth About the Lies.